go. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
And welcome in, everybody, to another brand new episode of the MHRT Podcast. I'm your host, Mundungus Greavy. As always, alongside my co-host, the 6'10" Glenn Mile High Fiberhauser, and our special guest host for today, the Steeler of Salisbury. She is here in the house today. If you're new here, we want to welcome you to the MHRT Network. We are a group of fan-led Broncos-based podcasts, and we do our absolute best to fill you in on all things Broncos news, while also bringing you some headlines throughout the NFL. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on notifications so that you can get alerted anytime we go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Now, not only does the network have the MHRT podcast, but we also have Broncos Talk that goes live every Tuesday, 7654. The Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast that goes live every Friday at 7654. And the newest podcast of the network, The Neigh-borhood, which airs before every Broncos game, which, might I add, is probably the greatest thing you will ever see ever.
Agreed.
Just throwing that out there. No, but Bree, it is great to have you in today. Not able to have Boggins in, but we upgraded, so woo!
Yeah, I heard that he heard I was going to be on, and he just dipped.
He's like, no, I'm done. So, exciting news. We're 2-0, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. Like, I keep hearing it's just the Jags, and it's just listen, shut your face. We're 2-0. Eat it. Nothing else matters.
Well, doesn't that go kind of the same? Everyone wanted to discount the wins by saying we played some easy teams, and I get that, but we play the schedule that we're given, and everybody does, and we're 2-0. And if you want to run head first through that wall, I implore you to, and I will join you. I'm in the line. So I think it's exciting. 2-0, going to be 3-0.
Yeah,
Yep.
and listen, like, I've looked into the rule books, and there's no rules for switching games. Like, we can't choose what game we want, so we have to play what we're given. All the teams are NFL teams. They all have NFL talent, so I don't care if they're terrible or not. We're still 2-0. So, ha. Now, the one thing I wasn't expecting.
No one felt sorry for us when we had the second toughest schedule, the fifth toughest schedule.
Yeah, they sure as hell didn't.
Now, I will say I wasn't expecting the Raiders to be tied with us for first. That was not, and I also did not expect to have Derek Carr at almost 900 yards throwing in 2 games. That was not something I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, well, the Raiders have a knack of always starting off hot, and then they just sputter towards the little after midseason, and then if they don't barely make the playoffs, and they're just like on the outside looking in. But I totally agree with you there, boss.
Well, I'll give them props. It's not like we're talking about them going 2-0 against like the Jets and the Texans. Like, we're talking the Ravens and the Steelers.
And the Steelers,
so props, but lose because I hate you. So
that Ravens game shouldn't have ended that way.
Landon says hello from school. Go play pep band. Stop it. Dave Glassman, early prediction: Broncos pitch a shutout, 35-0. We're not even there yet, Dave. Slow down.
Well, he did preface it by saying early. So,
well, once I read a part of it, I have to read the whole thing. You can't just stop.
Mm-hmm.
EJ, what's up, Broncos country? Avatar, what's up, Broncos country? It's good to see 7 Broncos could be Hall of Famers. Zach Seegers with the mile high five.
Hi,
See what else
Zach.
we got going on here. Mile high profit in roughly 72 hours. We will be 3-0.
As it is written.
Savage Sev Cisneros. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, there's a D. Let's go 3-0.
3-0.
Let's see. KB82. Did you see 6'10" tweet on That's Good Sports with Brandon Perna?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Perna used my tweet in one of his segments. KB sent me a message while I was at work. It was freaking awesome for about a good 10 seconds.
What'd you say?
I think we talked about it where I mentioned that it was a damn shame that Tom McMahon had to get on the exact same plane as the team going back home after that win on Sunday.
No.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, Adon is not saying the name of the segment, which is worst tweets of the week.
Glassman, off topic. Who's playing tonight? Texans and
Panthers.
Panthers. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the Texans part because I want to see that dumpster fire. Prophet, can we just have Bree in a single window?
Sure.
That hurts my feelings a little bit.
That means I can go eat.
Okay, so let's go over this this Jaguars game. We definitely saw a different Jaguars team in this game than we did in week 1. Why? I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. We had some issues in the first 2 series against the Giants offensively. Then we go into the Jaguars game, and like the first quarter was just nothing on offense. What is slowing us down on offense that allowed the Jags to kind of get their footing so that we had to crawl back into it?
Very.
I gotta stop throwing you curveballs because you guys are like,
I'm trying to think
because it's just such a ridiculous premise. Like,
listen,
a little over dramatic, I suppose. You know,
you're over dramatic.
Yeah.
They scored 1 touchdown on offense in the entire game, and it just happened to be at the beginning of the game. So, not worried at all.
It's like the defense was like, "All right, you get 1. That's all you get," and then we're shutting you down.
Well, I think that's kind of what you're going to see happen against the Jets too, primarily is them coming out to see what that rookie quarterback is going to do. So I think with Trevor Lawrence, we didn't want to switch things up on him too quickly and kind of go in with just relative man defense and see what he was going to do and then attack it that way. So
Fan favorite, clearly.
I'm trying to work.
It was nice knowing you, Boggins.
See, we don't get all this with Boggins on the show, so
I know Boggins is done for. You'll see my face from here on out.
At least I'm the only one that's not treated like a piece of meat here from on the podcast. So.
Whoa!
I'm tired of being the eye candy on the show. So.
Yeah, it's hard.
I know. Well, let me be the one to take the pressure off your shoulders.
Please do.
My aging old shoulders.
That'll do it too.
Shoulders all full of fiber, just ready to go.
Yeah, they're built up from years and years.
So yeah, I'm okay. So it was a tad bit over dramatic, but we are seeing a steady trend of the offense having some struggles in the first 2 or 3 possessions, getting things going. Is that a Shermer thing? Is it a Bridgewater thing? Is it a offensive line thing? Is it just a chemistry thing? Like what seems to be the stone in the path to get going?
I basically think that it's more than likely just going to take a little bit of time, because Pat Shermer was trying to build a repertoire with Drew Lock last season, and apparently it had its more downs than it did up. And with Teddy Bridgewater, it's just Bridgewater just trying to find his fitting, trying to see what works. And it might suck watching that, but at the same time, it kind of works out in the long end because we don't want Bridgewater to force throws or passes that if he's not comfortable making them, that they don't go there. He almost had that interception in that Jaguars play. If that defender was just a little bit more careful, he obviously picks that ball, even though that wasn't all on Bridgewater, but that would have been his very first interception going into the season. So I kind of like how he picks his plays. He dances a little bit in the pocket if he knows he has time. He has pocket awareness where he tries not to get hit from behind. And as long as it continues, then, hey, it'll build up more confidence with Pat Shermer and learning how to work this offense a whole lot better going forward.
But I think that's the point, too, of having Bridgewater in there. Obviously, that veteran prowess is absolutely showing in his first 2 starts because even when he does have pressure, he is few and far between to make a mistake or look like he's in a panic. He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected. So even when he does get pressure, he rolls right out of it. And I don't see that happening too much against the Jets. But in the Jags, yeah, like you said, he had that play where he was able to recover really nicely and complete the pass. So I think that's kind of something to look forward to, is not having to worry about someone not protecting the ball and then also just collapsing in the pocket and getting a sack, because I think he's only been sacked twice. No, so 5 times he was.
I think he's got 5.
3 against the Jags, 2 against the Giants. But I'm going to say that's probably going to be pretty steady, if not fixing those issues on the offensive line going forward.
His pocket presence is amazing. I mean, it's just and Bree said it, his calmness is great. Mike had made a point to us privately that he thinks that we really had such high expectations against the Jaguars that we expected them to be so bad, and they really weren't. They were much better than I was expecting. And so when we didn't come there and just destroy them to just obliterate them, that it almost seemed like the Broncos struggled, and that really was not the case. I was rather impressed with their defense. They were a lot better than I thought.
No, I will say this. I was hoping for, an average of 250 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. He's a little above that, and I will say this. Mr. Bridgewater has proven that he is a man amongst boys at quarterback. So I'm forever now calling him Theodore, just because. Why not?
That's perfectly fine with me. But like I said, I kind of do like it because it's a little bit different from what we're seeing with Drew Lock. Last year, Drew Lock was kind of like the guy who didn't really read into his possibilities. He kind of just tried to always go to what he thought was a guy that was open, per se. So I really like it. The turnovers. We're so used to having this time last year, Drew Lock was 3-4 turnovers prone before he got hurt in that game against the Steelers. So it's a nice change of pace. And to be honest with you, it could be just Shermer just trying to play it safe, because he knows that his job could be on the line if the Broncos offense does not produce any better than they did before.
Yeah. Were there any areas of concern that you saw against the Jags that you think is going to be a constant concern, or are the things that we're seeing going to be fixed within the first, 8 games?
Probably, I would say the offensive line. I expected a little bit better play from Netane Moody. I know he's a backup and everything, but I kind of felt that in certain plays he shined, and in certain other plays it's like, okay, he's still a little rough around the edges. He needs to work there. So Graham Glasgow cannot come back fast enough, let me tell you. And every time I saw a Bridgewater got down, I got a little nervous, because I'm like, I was hoping he didn't get up a little gippy, or, holding his hand or his arm or his elbow or some part of his body where it's like, oh, crap, Bridgewater's hurt.
Oh, crap.
And, yeah. So, I mean, we probably won't see that much pressure coming from this Jets defensive line, because they do have a lot of injuries on board. But going forward, the Ravens and all the other really good teams, that could be a cause for concern, how our offensive line looks going into those games.
There was a play where Bridgewater got hit and he got up pretty slowly and just kind of meandered to the bench. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But who knows if that's just him being cool,
Yeah.
But he did look like he had taken quite a whack there.
No, I do have I pulled up all the stats for the Broncos. Like I said, Teddy Bridgewater, 592 yards. Melvin Gordon with 132. Now, I figured Javonte would be ahead of Melvin, but the reason why Melvin is ahead is because he had that 70-yard run in the Giants game. So otherwise, we'd have Javonte Williams would be the leading rushing back. Cortland Sutton at 173 yards. Josie Jewell, man, I am sad that my honey bear is gone. 7 tackles, tore pec, so he's going to be gone for the remainder of the season. Not a fan. I am interested to see how Sternad does, but like I said before, I would have rather had Jewell and Sternad out there than Sternad and Johnson.
Yeah, I was listening to Broncos Country tonight, and they mentioned that they don't feel that Baron Browning is ready to play yet. He did see a couple of reps this past weekend, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to kind of wow the coaching staff. So the depth going into inside linebacker is a little bit of a concern to me. And there was talks that the Lions are looking to trade. I forgot his name. Their inside
Jamie
linebacker,
Collins.
Jamie Collins. Thank you, Jamie Collins. So depending on what it is that I can't remember what the Lions are offering, but if it gets to a certain point, you could probably expect George Payton to maybe trade for an inside linebacker, because I know the Broncos did pick up some from the waiver wire and maybe a free agent here or there, but it doesn't seem that sounds more like thank you. It seems more like depth at this point than starting position.
Yeah. So the one thing that we always said in the offseason was when you have Teddy Bridgewater quarterback, your drives are going to be a lot longer. 37 minutes compared to 23 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, that's exactly what you want, isn't it?
Yep.
Being able to be efficient, move the ball, but hold the ball so you give the defense some time to kind of recover and recuperate. And the thing that's getting me is like, well, number one, the leading quarterback in throws over 20 yards right now is Teddy Bridgewater. Mr. Theodore himself. He is the leading quarterback in throws farther than 20 yards. He's averaging 8.5 yards an attempt, which I think is one of the arguments that was made against Mr. Theodore was he dinks and dunks. He only does 5-10 yards. And I think he's going out there and doing exactly what he needs to do, which is open it up, throw the ball when he needs to, and try to create some plays.
Yeah. Safe football is good football, and that's exactly what we're getting out of Bridgewater. And it's enough to 37 minutes of holding the possession. That'll wear almost any defense in this league down. Doesn't matter how good they are, especially if you don't turn the ball over and put your own defense in an awkward position where they have to hold the opposing offenses off. So, and that's exactly what the Broncos did against the Giants, which helped open up that really big run by Melvin Gordon towards the end to seal that win. And they did it against the Jaguars defense, who by at this point isn't really, you can really say they're elite, but they did just enough to wear them down, where, the Broncos made sure that even though they slipped up on special teams, that they didn't put winning the game in jeopardy.
No. And then right here, you got 4th down conversions, 5 for 5. Yeah. Didn't think we were going to see that this season. I'm glad we saw it in the preseason. But I didn't think we were going to be having that, during the regular season. So let's go with players of the game. Who would your guys' player of the game be between the Jags and the Broncos?
Man, as the vice president of the Patrick Surtain Club, I'm going to say Patrick Surtain.
Why are you stealing my thunder is my only question.
I said vice president.
Well, you'll give better reasons. I'm surprised you remembered his name.
But I'm not that old yet. Don't let the gray hair fool you. But no, he played really good. He got his very first interception in the game. And not only did he get that interception, but he was able to keep both of his feet in bounds. So yeah. I know it's asking a little bit more out of him, having to fill in for Ronald Darby, but I couldn't think of a better person to ask. And right now, picking him in the draft was a really good move by George Payton, because Ronald Darby's injuries were a concern going in the offseason, and it's almost like a replicate of what happened in week 1 last year when AJ Bouye got hurt. And we had Ojemudia and others, but unfortunately they didn't come with the expectations that we're expecting out of Patrick Surtain.
No, I think that's a great, I will allow you to represent that play.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Even though that, of course, was going to be my answer, but I'll go one further. Hold on one second. So I think the game and the plays of the game were all really relative to body control. So you're going to see just remarkable talent out there making some really big plays that were going to serve us well. So Pat, of course, had that amazing ability to keep his feet in bounds and really solidify that interception. I had predicted a pick six, at least a defensive, I just wanted a defensive show out from them. So the interception was huge. I knew he was going to get it. Kind of wish, he would have ran with it, but he barely made it in bounds. And then Kareem Jackson definitely came flying out of nowhere for that tackle that saved us, because I don't think any a lesser foe would have been able to grab and tackle the way that he did. So he came flying in there. Again, body control, supreme talent. I think, K-Jack will be my player of the game.
She just did a whole dipsy doodle there.
Yeah,
I'm going a dipsy doodle.
Dipsy doodle.
That's what we're going with, is dipsy doodle?
I am going with Cortland Sutton. For one,
you should have went for him.
After one catch in the opening game, to come back with the performance that he did, we're not going to see any hesitation the rest of the season from Cortland about that injury. He's not even thinking about it at this point. And what was great were the bombs. I mean, the showcasing of Teddy's arm, it's just, quite honestly, Cortland's statistics could have even been greater than they were. There were some clear pass interference calls that were not made. The hankies were kept in the pocket. So it's an easy one for me, Cortland.
Yeah, I think for me, it's going to be the same thing I said against the Giants. It's going to be Mr. Theodore. He's 26 for 34, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think I wish he had another touchdown, but at the same time, he's sitting there with over 300 yards in a game, and nobody was expecting him to do that. Obviously, Bridgewater to Sutton was, they're starting to get their chemistry down. Because he had that chemistry with Judy, and then Judy's out for 8 weeks. So it seems like he's being able to transfer that chemistry over to Cortland Sutton. And, that might be a special connection that we're going to have during the year. I mean, if Cortland can keep playing the way he's playing, and even, improve on that with, the more comfortable he gets with his knee being back in shape, you could very easily see Cortland Sutton getting a 200-yard game this season.
Mm-hmm.
So just to put that into perspective, I mean, it was a day out from a year anniversary of his injury that took him out, right? He had a career day, so he had 9 catches, 159 yards. That's outstanding.
When they tossed him the ball, I got kind of choked up, and I'm loving, by the way, these locker room videos that they're showing from the first 2 games. And it was touching to me when Vic tossed the ball to Cortland, and it was just, you could tell it meant a lot to him.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, that game ball, you could almost give almost every person in that locker room a game ball, because it felt like everybody worked really hard to earn it. And I know that's a bit of a stretch, but I totally agree with you, Glenn. That locker room video, watching Vic, interact with his players, you can tell that he has that locker room support. And it kind of took down a lot of rumors, because we all thought last year, Vic Fangio lost the locker room, or the defense is or the offense are not gelling together. But we personally saw that these guys mean business, and whether it's the lowly Jets or the Ravens that we got coming up next, this Broncos team is going to give it 100%, and they're going to go out there and get a win.
Yeah. And Rich is saying, Sutton could have been even better. There was a bomb which Teddy underthrew Sutton. That was going to be a big, big play. I mean, it's the same thing with Theodore. Like, if he makes that pass to Hamler and he makes that pass to Sutton, I mean, you're looking at his first week would have been a 300-yard game. His second week could have been almost a 400-yard game. I mean, it's just nuts. Like, I thought he was going to be good, but like, he's doing even better than I thought he was going to do.
Right.
What did he do wrong on the Hamler play? It hit him straight in the hands.
No, not him. I'm saying if he had completed that pass.
Oh, okay.
Not him, I mean,
because I did hear people criticizing him for that, and
he didn't throw it right. It was like he looked the wrong way, and so the ball didn't quite get where it needed to be.
Yeah.
No, so we have Sutton playing how we think he's going to play. We have Bridgewater playing better than we think he's going to play. I'm still kind of in the air on Gordon and Williams because you see those that are the big play capability with Gordon, but then the rest of the game, he's just kind of, 2-3 yards of carry, not really doing a whole lot. But then there's Javonte, where it seems like every other play is a 5 to 10 yard run. And so, like, as much as I want to, like, I'm kind of thinking they should switch roles, like have Javonte be the first and second down back, and then Gordon be the third down back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make stuff up with that this early with the success that they're having right now. I don't see anything changing with that.
Yeah.
Well, and plus you got with do we know if Glasgow is going to be back next week, or is he still out?
He's trending. He's trending to almost. Yeah, I saw today that he was trending to play. I don't know if that means he's going to, but it looks like he's looking okay.
I think they have 1 or 2 more practices before the official injury report has to be out. I think before Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Since the Broncos,
was there a big? I didn't see too much of an issue with Moody out there. I mean, I'm not going to say that he played as well as Glasgow, but I didn't see him struggling all that much compared to what we'd already seen.
I mean,
he did allow us back. He was kind of standing there like his he's laying it. But well, I think he's a formidable player. I mean, it's this isn't a bad thing for him, especially playing against some teams that aren't particularly great. That he gets this real experience, this significant experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it looks like everybody was either limited practice or full practice. So Glasgow was full practice today. Mike Purcell was limited. Noah Fant was limited. Tim Patrick was limited, but everybody else was a full participant.
Good.
Which, let me tell you, that's a welcome reprieve from this morning logging into the depth chart and seeing like 6 or 7 Qs all over the board. So glad to see that. So because I mean, even Sutton was listed as questionable yesterday. So I'm sure.
Now, did you guys see the special teams play that took out Josie Jewell? I mean, it didn't look. I mean, it was a good hit. Like I didn't see anything, and he tore his pec. Why was he on special teams in the first place? Is my question. Like he's your starting backer. Why is he on special teams?
Because Tom McMahon is evil.
No, because they need experienced players. That's all the focus is going on special teams, and it's still not working. I mean, we have these top 5, top 10 ranked offense, defense, and I think Pro Football Focus has us as the last ranked special teams unit. Vic tried to reference Navarro Bowman from the 49ers, that he was always on special teams even when he was having his best years, but no one was really feeling like that still applied here. But
yeah,
I don't understand the change or the lack of change on the coaching on special teams. It's horrific. I mean, it's terrible.
Could be better. Yeah.
Avatar says he's gonna go with Fant on that touchdown catch and run.
That was a good play.
Player of the game. Yeah, that was a good. Let's see here. Simmons will get an epic pick versus what I put epic in there for. Simmons will get a pick versus the Jets.
So I have that prediction going in later on for both Surtain and Simmons to get a pick off Zach Wilson on Sunday. I'm heavy on another defensive show out for the Broncos, and I think that we could see, one apiece for both of those studs.
We'll hope they come shooting towards the south stands, and then you'll be able to see them enter the end zone your direction. Right?
Absolutely, for sure. I'd like that.
Travis Tarbox, it's great to see them win, but the injuries are tough because some of these guys started off looking great. What was the issue with Purcell? Why was he? Because he was he didn't participate in practice yesterday, but was limited today. I didn't see anything It says his knee, but I didn't see anything in the Jags game. He was in there the whole game, right?
Yeah, it could have been like an off the field type of injury thing. I don't recall seeing him.
And then Shelby with his wrist. So I'm wondering if these aren't serious injuries, or those, 2-3 day injuries, and then you kind of get over them, which is fine. I'll take those injuries all day. It's the torn pecs, the Achilles, the knees. Those are the ones I don't do. No, the hammer strings. We don't want to mess with those.
I mean, even with relative soreness, you're going to keep those guys kind of on limited just because you don't want to cause any more stressors on an already shaking ground. It's just like pushing it when you don't need to.
Yeah.
Especially start of the season.
Well, we just got it. If they're sore, send them all to Mario.
The tansy therapy.
And also, now that they don't allow probable as being the baseline for the injury report, it always seems to look worse than it actually is, because if they have to put somebody on it, at best, it's questionable.
Oh, is that why they don't use probable anymore? I didn't know that was the thing, that you couldn't use that anymore.
No.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Way to go, Glenn. I knew we kept you around for a reason.
Yeah, we kept you around for a reason. Way to go.
He's our football almanac.
Glenn remembers the days before.
I'm going to stay past my bedtime. I need to continue.
Glenn remembers the days before there were referees and penalties.
We didn't have any.
Oh, the days of the Leatherhead.
Let's see here. Zach Seegers. Reiser and Cush are the biggest problems on the interior offensive line. I know we love Reiser, but he's been bad ever since the scheme switch. He really hasn't been playing up to what we saw for his first year.
Yeah, that's true. I can't help but to agree with that statement. And it could be very problematic for him, because I don't know if next year is a contract year for him or if it's the following one. But if he wants to make a name for himself and, try to want more money when his contract is up, I don't believe the tape he's put out so far is enough for him to go to the table and say, hey, let's talk a new contract. I want more money. It could be something simple like George Payton just lets him walk, and either Payton tries to look for something in the draft or, free agency, see what else is available out there. So he needs to step his game up, because it's not really looking good for him so far.
It's pick on Glenn Day today. That's what it seems like is going on right now.
So, Mike, a lot of people are wishing you congratulations on your new baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's number 6, so whatever.
But she came home today, and
she came home today. That was pretty exciting. I haven't even gotten to hold her yet, because we got home, and then my parents came, and my grandpa came, and my sister's over here with her son. So it's like everybody else is holding him, and I'm like, I helped make him. Well, do I get to hold her? Like half mine.
The visual.
The visual. Yeah.
Hey, you're thinking of the visual, not me. So Zach Seegers, Devin White, and Deontay Hightower played comparable special team snaps with Jewel. Well, that's their fault, not mine.
I mean, every team runs their special teams group differently, though. I mean, those guys can probably thrive in the system they're running with in Devin White in Tampa and Dante Hightower in New England. So they have different coordinators. They don't have Tom McMahon. If they had Tom McMahon, they probably would be in the same stink hole that the Broncos are in that position on PFF. So let's trade coordinators. Give them a call so they can find out what we've been going through for the last 3-4 years with this man. Jesus Christ.
Zach, 2022 is a contract year, so one would think he's talking extension this coming offseason. Plus, you got to think that even with the scheme switch, Munchak would be the coach that would work him into that scheme and help him improve. So you hope that we don't have to worry about trying to get another right guard. You're hoping that Munchak can work him into that. Stop it, Boggins.
13 kids.
Stop it. Let's see. Wow, they're picking on you, Glenn. right here.
I understand.
First car was
Glenn's first car was a Ford Model T. When Glenn was a senior, Vince Lombardi was a freshman. Lordy.
Booker, how dare you?
Lordy.
He was a sophomore.
So that's the injury report. It doesn't look like we have anybody out other than Josie Jewell right now. Other than anybody that's on IR. Do we know when Boone is coming back? Because he was short-term IR, right?
Yeah, week
8.
I have not heard his name.
6.
Is he the full 8?
I thought he was the full 8. That was my impression, but I mean,
I
I'm
thought he
sure.
was 7.
Well,
So we're
doesn't matter at that point.
closer.
Let's go with 7.5.
7.
That's where we're gonna go. Because I know that we had Darby on there for what, 2, 3 to 4?
Yeah. 3
And then we had Judy on there for 6 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So is Boone on there for the until week 8 or 8 weeks from when he was put on?
Hope is back no later than here's a Kliss tweet from August 31st. Source confirms plan for Mike Boone to be on 53 today, then place him on IR on Wednesday. Hope is he'll be back no later than week 4, the Ravens game.
Okay, so we're looking 6 weeks from when he was placed, not week 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. So we'll see him at the Ravens game.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Knock on wood.
Which could be exciting. I'm kind of excited for that.
I am.
So let's dig into this Jets game coming up. We were all excited and we were all saying that Denver was going to completely kill the Jags, and then that didn't happen. Then we had Zach Wilson throwing 4 interceptions and 7 yards of offense. So it's I kind of think that they're going to crush the Jets now, but I don't want to jinx it.
So Bree, why don't you lead us off since you're actually going to be in attendance there? What are you?
And you did your research.
I always do my research, sir.
Well, what are you expecting for just for the experience in itself?
Well, I remember last time I was on, we were talking about going into, week 3. So the Jets game, what it was going to feel like inside the stadium. And we chatted about a little bit off the record, but I can't wait for the atmosphere inside the stadium for our first home opener. First time full crowd since December 29th of 2018. Our first, home opener in 750 days, I think is the math on that. And so when you put it like that, I think it's going to be incredible. And I know people are going to be excited, not, A, to be back, B, because we're winning, and C, because we have the potential to beat this team. And I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that quite possibly the Jets are a little bit worse than the Jaguars. And I say that with love, knowing that we can't look past this game,
with love.
With love.
With adoration in my
With all
heart.
due respect.
Bless their hearts. But I think it's going to be incredible, not only because we're all going to be not expecting a win, but obviously watching some really great mistake-free football. It's going to carry us through to be 3-0 onto the Ravens, which is another home game, which is going to be pretty exciting there. But you have to think that the Broncos have won, I think now 18 of their last 24 home openers. And I don't see them losing. And so that's really something to be excited about. So I think the atmosphere itself is going to be incredible. I don't see Zach really doing much better. I see you have his stats pulled up on here, but I also have just kind of concerns that you're seeing someone go from a QBR rating of 36, maybe 37 to 9 and 4 interceptions. So that's why I was saying I'm seeing at least 2 by Denver, and I'm seeing, 1 for Stan, 1 for Simmons. And I'm not really worried about anything else because I think defense is going to be what's going to win us this game. I don't think the Jaguars game was as close as it looks on the board. So I think when you're looking at the stats and the score, you're saying, oh, wow, we barely won, when I think that they were able to score that touchdown by happenstance. And I'm not really worried about it. I don't think they're a good enough team to beat us. And I don't think that the game should have been that close. My prediction was, I think 31-7. So it should have been kind of either or. And so I don't think the game was close. I don't think this one is going to either. And if we only win by 10 points, which I don't see that happening, I don't think we can call that a close game either if we shut them down the way that we were able to the Jaguars.
So your seats are down by where the players run on the field, correct?
Right. I'm just above the home tunnel.
That's going to be bedlam. I mean, what jersey are you wearing?
It's orange, United in orange. So I think I'm going to do the Simmons, orange Simmons.
Awesome.
Ooh,
Support. That's right.
a good one. Yeah, I do my research too. See, I pull stuff up.
Grab that last one.
No, I had 42-7. So I'm glad I didn't bet on that because I would have been in trouble. Grab the last what?
The last comment.
Oh, by Zach?
Yeah.
Bree doesn't see Zach doing much better. Don't know what I did to catch that stray bullet. Oh, that's funny.
I swear that you guys are joined at the hip.
That's my dude, man.
Well, you behind the scenes, you gave him credit for encouraging you to come on these podcasts, and now you've become a media mogul in these last
media mogul. Woo!
Yeah,
I know. In payment for all of that, Zach has to write all my tweets, and I pay him.
So that's not you sending me the heart emojis on there? Jeez.
Zach. All right. So the one thing I'm noticing about the Jets defense, they have no interceptions. None.
Which is really weird because they have Robert Salah, who was a really good defensive back in San Francisco. So you figured him coming over that it would be the offense kind of struggling, but the defense would have to be carrying the torch. But it hasn't worked out that way so far. And granted, they do have some really big key injuries. Mekhi Becton is out, and I forget the name of their other player who was also out. But unfortunately, it's going to take the Jets a really, really long time for them to kind of get to find a scheme that works really good for them, especially with a first-time head coach in Robert Salah, if he even makes it through his tenure there. So it's not going to happen this Sunday, I'll guarantee you, but good luck to them going forward.
Yeah. Now, I do want to throw out there that it's showing the ESPN thing. We are not sponsored by ESPN, but if you want to, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
Go ahead and slide into my DMs. I'll respond.
Also, I do want to backtrack a little bit because Mr. Boggins is right. He did pester me incessantly to come on your guys' show.
No, don't give Boggins anything.
He gets credit.
Boggins gets nothing. Can't even
nada.
No, he gets nothing.
She did mention Boggins too, and so that he was calling incessantly.
He gets that one.
To the point where
JETS loss. And he gets that one.
But it was those Bermside chats with Seegers that put things over the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
Travis Tarbox, Vaughn is going full beast mode. He already is in beast mode though, right?
Well, he is, and I want to point this out because it's really interesting to watch. It's interesting to watch the timeline when it's happening, or if you're at the bar or wherever you're at, when everyone's sitting around watching the game, and the minute somebody goes, "Where's Vaughn?" He hasn't really done anything, and that's because he's sitting back there hunting, as he always does. And if he's not being caught up in double coverage, he's out there and he's getting closer every single time. And that's what we were doing at DNVR last weekend. We were like. And I heard somebody say, "Where's Vaughn?" I said, "Just watch." Sure as hell, he comes in and gets that sack. So Vaughn's always hunting. And so Vaughn the monster, like he's going to be a beast again. And that's never going to change,
Yeah, I did read an article. Don't mean to cut you off, boss. I did read an article that said that if the Broncos defense does get a big enough lead, that they could switch Von Miller to a snap count. With Bradley Chubb being out, I think the Broncos coaching staff is going to try to limit just how much they unleash Vaughn, because Malik Reed did a pretty good job last year, filling in for Vaughn, and now he has to fill in for Bradley Chubb. But I don't think that they're fully confident in putting in either Jonathan Cooper, even though he had a fantastic preseason, and I forget the name of the other gentleman that's rotational. So I believe that while I do totally agree with your statement there, Bree, Vaughn being Vaughn, he's just going to go out there and wreck that field and force interceptions and just do what he does best, and that's just hunt the quarterback.
No, I will say.
Let me ask you guys this question. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say that you brought him up, and the one person I didn't see on the injury report was Chubb. Do we know what the injury is, how long he's going to be out, or if he's going to be out?
So Chubb's out. He's going to be out
6 to 8 weeks.
Actually, yeah, 6 to 8. Best case scenario is a little bit sooner, but I don't see any potential for him coming back before being out 10 weeks. Surgery was a success, though, so they went in and scoped that bone spur. I thought it was relatively worse than it looked a lot worse. Him pounding the ground like that and the emotion he was showing, I thought for sure he either broke or snapped something. So, but typically for bone spurs, 4 to 6 weeks, it's not high on my list to rush him back onto the field, especially considering what's happened.
And a bone spur isn't one of those things that you just kind of develop. Like he's had that for a little bit. So it's not like them putting him on the field when he was iffy on his ankle. Like that's not what happened. It was so, I mean, that makes me feel a little bit better. But do we know?
We didn't know it was bone spurs before the surgery. So, I mean, we're criticizing. I was really critical that they didn't keep him out, but really what would have been the difference if he played next week? The bone, the piece would still be floating around there. But let me ask you guys this question is, who gets the big contract first, Chubb or Malik Reed?
So this is a really good question because what does it bring into context as far as extensions go too? Is Chubb being out mean that Vaughn does get extended without questions asked? Or does it see that Cooper comes in or Malik Reed comes in and gets that extension? So I think that's really important to cover.
Well, and so with Chubb out, are we definitely seeing, because we had Reed last year in Vaughn's spot. So now with Chubb out, is it Reed instead of Chubb, or are we going to see more of Cooper, or is it going to be a rotation?
I guess it really depends on what we get out of Bradley Chubb this season. If Bradley Chubb comes back and he knock on wood, he avoids injuries and he's able to pair up with Von Miller and just be that destructive duo that we so crave to see, then I think he makes a legit argument for him to get a restructured contract. It probably won't be big because obviously those lingering injuries are going to be an issue going forward in the future. But if he doesn't come back this season, then that's going to give Malik Reed a shot to kind of, let the front office know that, hey, I can be more than just a rotational guy. I can be a possible starter. And that's saying if Jonathan Cooper doesn't come in the scene and blows up, or Denver doesn't go into the free agency and gets another pass rusher, or they trade for one if they absolutely need one before the deadline. So I guess it all depends on where the Broncos finish at the end of the season and to see who's healthy and who can still go and just how things are looking at cap wise.
But in terms of the short term, it's going to be Malik. And it's interesting when you hear Vaughn talk about him. Vaughn loves this guy. And he says, it seems that every year he gets this opportunity to take over a starting position due to injury, and he capitalizes on it. And he said today in his press conference, he goes, he's gonna get paid big time, just like Shaq did. And all I'm thinking is, ooh, does Vaughn think we're gonna let this guy go? I mean, people do bring up Shaq Barrett, but really we had no choice but to let him walk. We had Vaughn, and we had just invested a number 5 pick in the first round on Bradley Chubb. So, it would have been silly to even begin to offer. We didn't have a place for him to play as a starter.
Well, and I think it goes to speak strongly towards George Payton understanding that depth at that position is important, because I think they just went and picked up another outside linebacker that I have no idea anything about him, but he's a big dude. He's a giant.
He's wearing 94. Did you see his picture? So I do have a little bit of outside linebacker, Eastern Kentucky, first-year player. He went undrafted, but in his college career had 27.5 sacks.
Yeah.
So, and then the other linebacker we picked up off the Rams practice squad was Micah Kaiser, 5th-round pick in 2018. has played 26 games for the Rams, and in 2020 he started the first 10 games before going on IR. So here's someone that has experience, and he has experience in Vic's scheme because Staley was the defensive coordinator for the Rams last year, if you remember.
Zach, shut up. Zach Seeger said, heard some scuttlebutt at practice today that Franklin shouldn't be overlooked. Jacksonville did not want him poached, like how we have some guys we love on our practice squad.
Yeah, I think he means Aaron Patrick.
Yeah, I didn't know that teams could protect players from getting poached in practice squad. I think up to 3, if I'm not mistaken, correct. But
you can protect people in practice squad?
Like keep them from getting poached. I remember I read that in an article somewhere today. I don't remember where I read it. But basically Jacksonville was trying not to get Patrick taken from the Jacksonville practice squad, and now he's in Denver. So hopefully this is a good signing from the Denver scouts that saw that this guy could have that potential to be work his way into the 53-man roster.
So I guess this is my question then. If we're going to see possibly a rotation, maybe even Malik Reed starting the whole time that Chubb is out, are we looking at the possibility of having Chubb not re-signed, Miller not re-signed, and going with Cooper and Reed as our outside linebackers?
Mike, Chubb still has a year left on his contract.
I understand that, but I'm saying in the future, is that something like is that something that we're looking for? Is not having Chubb, not having Miller, and having Cooper and Reed?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that Denver probably would move on from one of those two. If I don't see them ever moving away from Von Miller, because Von Miller is, he's a Bronco for life. He said himself a bunch of times, and it would take something drastic, like a really big fallout with the team, for Von to walk away and go play for somebody else. And even so, he wouldn't have that big of an impact with the remaining time he has in the league. So if I had to guess, I would say that the Broncos would probably move on from Chubb first before they decided to move on from Miller, unless Miller started asking for more money, which I don't really think he would. He's rich enough as it is. And if they do move on from Chubb, it's probably because Bradley Chubb didn't produce enough to where the team sees him more of a liability instead of, finding a way to progress with him with the team.
KBA2, if we don't have Von or Chubb, I think we draft an edge rusher in the first round.
I think you're still possibly looking towards the draft if you don't extend Chubb. I think Miller's a no-brainer, but with Chubb, that's really in the air, and I think you do go to the draft for an edge rusher.
Mm-hmm, agreed.
Which sucks. Like, I love Bradley Chubb, but the guy does come with a very, very long injury history, including high school, college, and the NFL. So as much as I love the guy, I was telling Glenn the other day, I think that Chubb is going to kind of be like Jake Butt, like all the talent in the world, but he just can't stay on the field. He gets hurt every season, one way or another, and it just ends up being, he's here 4 or 5 years, and then it's, well, we tried, but you're never on the field.
Like the term, it's not called show friendship, it's show business, so.
What?
I gotta Google that.
We're not gonna, just because we all love the guy, we can't be fiscally irresponsible, even with the cap going up. But
unless we got Bezos,
hopefully he comes back,
throw him whatever you want at that point.
But your initial question was looking towards like Reed and Cooper, and I think those guys are learning tremendously behind them as it is, and so I could see Cooper coming in. Malik Reed obviously is the front runner for that.
Yeah.
But Cooper, I love following him, his story and his ability to play. So I'm not really sure you don't give those guys a shot too.
Which is really hard to do when you have Miller and Chubb. Like, obviously you don't want to get rid of Miller, especially if he continues going the way he's going. You almost have to re-sign him for, 3-4 years, let him get up to that, that point in age where it's like, all right, it's not, you're done. But yeah. I mean, at that point, then you're looking at another situation where you're letting one of those guys go because you don't have the spot for him to start. And so if another team comes calling, like what happened to Barrett, like he's going to leave and go where you can start. And so it's like, as much as I don't want Miller to go anywhere, you almost kind of think like, well, maybe it'll, with having Cooper and Reed available, maybe sometime in the future they're going to have Vaughn be a rotational, like he'll get first and second, and then one of the other guys comes in on third down or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this sounds silly because Vaughn has been making sacks and he's been making plays, but when I watched him try to time the snap and jump off sides and get flagged for offsides, I was like, vintage Vaughn. It was perfect. You know, I'm like, he's back. When he's trying to make those efforts, I mean, that was old school Vaughn. I loved it.
But was that not when they slowed it down and they showed the slow replay of it? Wasn't he like right?
He was right. He was like, right there.
Right on the money.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to beat the offensive lineman before he could shift. Yeah. I mean, he's had a lot of those where he was on the money, and then he's had those where it was just like, just a second off, and you know, it was a hard count, or he was a second off, and then he got flagged for offsides or what have you. But the fact that he can do that, you don't see that in a lot of edge rushers. So it's an amazing talent to have.
So that brings up the only concern that I had about the team outside of the special team performance was the penalties. They had 10 penalties, and at the end after the game, they referenced penalties to Vaughn in the press conference directly afterwards. And he said, "How many do we have?" He goes, "They go 10." And he goes, "Oh, I contributed to that." But Vic was not a happy camper about that. He even used some profanity live on the
Well, because what it does, it takes away from mistake-free football, right? So
you
guys are going out there doing everything they can possible to beat a pretty crappy team, and that's when it starts getting closer and it looks and appears to be closer than it really should be.
Yeah. Sure. All right, so let's dig into this Jets game real quick. Do we see the defense allowing a lot of points against the Jets vis-a-vis? Are we getting a lot of sacks and picks?
I would say no points. If the Patriots can shut out the Jets, even though they're a division team, the Broncos can definitely do it. I would like to see another interception from Surtain. That would be great to add to his repertoire. But I think Justin Simmons is due for one. Kareem Jackson, as Bree mentioned earlier, literally took the ball away from that wide receiver's hands damn near and was able to stay in bounds for like 5 more yards before he went flying out. So this defense is talented and it's stacked. Now, one concern is, even though most of our injuries are not severe, most of the guys will be coming back later on in the season. It is kind of a concern that the Broncos are kind of dipping their toe already into depth. So hopefully we can go into this game without having anybody come out injured.
Well, but this is what I'll say to that is, like, yes, we're dipping into depth, but thank God we have that depth there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we had so last year we had that one person that was behind the starter, but you could tell that there was a little bit of drop off in production. Mm-hmm. But then once you got past that person, it's like there's nothing. And so now you're seeing that the depth that we were given this offseason, or that we went and got this offseason, is contributing to not having a drop off in production in any of the positions that we have somebody in right now. So like you're not really seeing that drop off between Darby and PS2 because there really isn't one. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're seeing a slight drop off between Glasgow and Muti, but that's an experience thing. So, you know, he'll get there, but I mean, in any other team in the NFL, maybe not any, but in most other teams in the NFL, Muti would be a starter on their line. Mm-hmm. So, you know, having that depth is just amazing.
I agree.
So what are we thinking score-wise?
I am taking 1 point off my last week's prediction. So I said 31-7. I don't think the Jets get a touchdown. I'm going 31-6. And I want to say 34, but we're going to have time of possession for so long because I still keep tracking it upwards, going from 35 to 37 and change. I don't foresee it being close at all. No more garbage time touchdowns. No more close scores. Like, I want double-digit wins, and I want to leave the stadium knowing that, you know, we didn't even give them a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say mid-30s, probably 34-3. Give them a field goal because I think that's probably as close as they're going to get. I just don't think that offense is going to find their rhythm in Denver. Denver Mile High is one of the hardest places to play in. And obviously this rookie quarterback is his first time playing. He's going to have to try to get used to the altitude. It's going to play a factor, and the Broncos defense should feast.
I think that even his mother's tweets can't save Zach Wilson. I'm going 31-7. I am going to give them a touchdown. You just never know what's going to happen, but I think that's the extent of it.
I think I'm going to use the same score I used last week, 42-7. And I think they get that 7 either the very first possession where they come out and we're like, what the heck was that? Or we're going to get it at the very, very end when like our second, third string is in there not caring. But I think that like half of our points are going to be offense. The other half is going to be defense. I think we get a couple picks, maybe a couple pick sixes, maybe a forced fumble run in for a touchdown, something like that. So I think it's going to be half and half. So 42-7.
Who's your player of the game? Who do you think is going to make the impact?
Ooh, honestly, I'm going to go with Javonte Williams.
Ooh.
I think this is the week that he gets the 100 yards and a touchdown.
Nice.
I'm gonna go Von Miller, and I'm gonna say, you know what? I think you're right on that. Let's go a fumble and a strip, and if it doesn't result in points, that's fine. But I'm going strip sack for Von. Huge game because you know what? He's so excited to be back in the stadium full of fans. And he even said, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it's going to be intense. It's going to be insane. So yeah. I'm feeling that. I feel good about that.
I can see 4 sacks from him, but for me, I'm going to go Simmons. Even after I just said 4 sacks for Vaughn, but I don't want to.
He's got to beat Chandler Jones though, so he's got to go for 6.
Yeah, he's got to go for 6.
Is that what you were trying to do? Is beat Chandler Jones? So you kept going.
Pretty much.
But I'm going to go Simmons. I see either a fumble return for a touchdown or a pick 6 for him. But I see Justin scoring a TD.
Yeah. As a vice president of the Patrick Surtain fan club, let me just say that
wow.
I'm going to pick Patrick Surtain, but Teddy Bridgewater for me is a close second. But I think Surtain is going to – I say Patrick Surtain is going to get a pick 6 in this game. And if it doesn't happen, then that sucks. But Patrick Surtain.
If it doesn't happen, that sucks. Yeah, well, that's not a good.
You already know he's going to get an interception. Believe.
Yeah,
you got to believe.
Get an interception. Yeah, just like he got it in that first preseason game.
EJ 32-10 Broncos. KB 82-27-10 Broncos. Why such a low score? Have faith, sir. Trust in Theodore.
Believe.
Avatar 35-7. And another Sutton receiving game. I could see that. Now, I have been a little upset with the lack of production we've seen from Fant. Yeah. He's gotten some production, but I don't think he's gotten what we should have expected him to get. I feel like he should have more than what we thought he was going to get.
Yeah, Fant needs to get better.
Were you getting a snack when he scored that touchdown?
He was the number 1 target against the Giants, though.
He's getting some nachos.
I know, but his production just hasn't been as what and again, this could be an expectation thing, like kind of what we saw going to the Jags. Like I expect the Broncos to do this, and then they don't. So it's probably the same thing. I just feel like Fant should be more up there with like Waller and Kelsey, like those kind of stats, especially with Judy not being in there. I would expect Fant to be getting more production than he's getting.
Tim Patrick has done a really good job though, filling in for Jerry Jeudy. So as long as Judy's out, Tim Patrick is going to be a really good number 2, and Fant he's just going to be along for the ride. To be honest with you, yeah.
I'm still kind of blown away by that comment. Maybe by you prefacing that, yeah, just because I think Zach's in the chat too. Is led the team receiving week 1, got a touchdown in week 2. Were you hoping that he would just be such a brutal force out there, like Gronk levels, running people over?
Kind of. And I mean, like you go into the season, you have these expectations of what's going to happen. And then, you kind of level off and you see what they're going to produce. And then you have one of the leading targets go down for 8 weeks. You're like, okay, well, this person is going to step up, and you're going to see them producing those 100-yard receiving games, multiple touchdowns in a game, like the Waller numbers.
Well, because Teddy doesn't favor any of his targets, I think that's why we're not seeing anybody take the majority.
So like, I'm not saying that I'm not happy with what he's producing. I just thought there would be more.
Gotcha.
I thought he would have more production than we've seen from him.
Like
I didn't mean to get offended.
No. But I mean, like, because we keep talking every year about how he's going to make that jump and make that leap and make that step forward. And then it seems like every year he starts off about the same, and then kind of, and I was expecting more of a jump than what I'm seeing.
Got it.
So
gotcha.
That's my thing. Did we cover everything? Do we need anything else? I think we covered it all, didn't we?
I think we're good.
I got baby brain, so I can't remember what I'm what I'm doing.
Just have some
I can't wait to see how uncomfortable Wilson is out there. Maybe a couple tears down the face.
That makes two of us.
The Broncos have started out slow in both games. I find it hard to believe us getting 30 plus. I don't know if I agree with that.
That's only 4 touchdowns and a field goal, though. I mean, that's not that much.
Well, and again, I'm not saying that the offense is going to get all the points. Like I really believe it's going to be split, like half and half, like each like 21 for the offense, 21 for the defense. And I don't think that's unrealistic at all. I mean, that's 3 touchdowns. Like, you think a fumble and a touchdown, a pick 6, and I don't know, something else. I don't know.
I like Kenny Booker asking if my 7 on my prediction would be on a kick return or a punt return. So,
yeah.
So that's quite possible. So.
Yeah, we just need everybody in Broncos country that's at that game to just rattle that Jets offense, make some noise, throw them off guard, and we'll be in business.
Yeah, I don't think you need to implore the fans to be loud in this one.
And not have Tom McMahon suck. That would be nice.
They're calling it reunited.
Tell them to stay home. Don't come to the stadium. Tell them we're closed.
Oh man, I wonder if the fans started booing Tom McMahon, he would know it was him.
He probably has a secret exit that nobody knows about, so he doesn't have his car egged.
I'm not telling anyone to throw stuff, but
throwing is a block on these returns.
I always encourage people to do things that you're not supposed to do, but that's what I'm here for, isn't it?
That's the nice evil in it.
All right, so I think that's gonna about do it. We need to go to I got a baby to get back to, and we got some football to watch. So it has been an absolute pleasure being here with everybody today. We want to thank Bree for stepping in for Boggins.
Yeah.
We don't care about Boggins anymore, so you're welcome on here as much as you want.
Nice on you, Boggins.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. So again, and we've done this before, but Bree, where do you want everybody to follow you at, or find you, or search for you, or get in contact with you?
Don't get in contact with me. But if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can come find me over at Twitter at BreeBree0322. That's over there on the screen. Come say hello, come chat with me, come interact. It's a lot of fun. Also, I'll be at the game on Sunday, obviously. I'll be over at the DNVR tailgate. So if you're in the area, come say hello.
Tomorrow night, though, too, you got something going on.
Good God, what am I doing? Tomorrow.
What am I doing tomorrow?
You're hosting a live podcast?
Look at your schedule.
I'll be watching the live podcast of the Orange and Brew over at Living the Dream Brewery. That's down in Littleton. So we'll be there. Everyone in Broncos country is welcome to come join us. We have a few out-of-towners coming to visit as well. So we'll be at the brewery if you want to come say hello. If not, I'll see you on Sunday.
And you're hosting a show coming up soon, right? Like filling in as a guest host.
He won't let you forget anything. So
I know.
List it all.
I'm gonna hire Glenn as my assistant, so he can just keep reminding me of all my appearances that I have.
He's better than Alexa, let me tell you.
Yeah, I will. I'll be filling in for the Doc and JT Matthews as me and Lindsay Bebo work on Orange and Brew. I think we're gonna record here soon, so that'll be up shortly on the Twitter, and you can listen to us there.
Hi, Lindsay.
Oh yeah. And make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share, and turn on notifications for us and also for Bree. So you can catch all of our content when it's posted. Make sure you're also tuning in to Broncos Talk, hosted by a 6'10" and Rich every Tuesday at 7654. The Nothing Rhymes Orange and Blue on their new night of Friday at 7654. And the brand new pregame show, The Neigh-borhood, that airs live before every Broncos game. We're joined by Dave Glassman on that one. We also have tailgate check-ins with the Mile High Prophet at every Broncos home game. So we're going to have another Prophet tailgate check-in this Sunday for the game against the Jets. You can also catch all the audio versions of all the network's podcasts on all the major podcast streaming services. Links are in the description below. We love you all. We love Broncos country. And go Broncos! Now we're going to do a mile high five, and then we're going to go watch this game, all right?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Arms out. Here we go. Mile high five.
Woo!
Good. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. We will see everybody on Nothing Rhymes.
Hasta luego.